Hello, you beautiful people. Another beautiful day. Yeah. Hope your health and your five senses work. You must pledge your allegiance to Destiny, Anthem, and of course, Master Chief. So you're messing with people. Alright, let's do this. This video is to the Splitgate developers. So, found this article today on Kotaku. Says here, Splitgate devs say popular shooter is 25% complete. Okay. My advice to the Splitgate developers is this. You got $100 million in fundings, right? The first rule is this. Never move into a corporate office, because that will eat out, especially if you're paying rent and all that, for space and all that. That will eat out at your money that you got. The real advice is this. I would buy an abandoned warehouse. I would buy an abandoned warehouse and remodel it and turn it into a gaming studio. That way you could save some money. Okay? I wouldn't move into a corporate office because the fees that you got to pay. But if I was the head in charge at Splitgate, I would buy an abandoned warehouse that's big, and then turn that, remodel it, and then turn that into a gaming studio. Okay? That way you could save some money and weather the storm in today's video game climate, because you got $100 million, right, in fundings. And according to Sean Layden, the former Sony CEO boss, he is saying that video games cost $200 million to make. So you got $100 million in fundings. I would get an abandoned warehouse and turn it into a gaming studio, so you can save some money and weather the storm in this gaming industry. Okay, that's my advice to you. Now, I got something else to say, but I'm gonna say it after I read this article. Listen to this. Listen to this. Splitgate devs say popular shooter is only 25% complete. The first FP2 online shooter successfully combines Halo and Portal, and the devs have big plans for the future. So it says Splitgate was first released in 2019, and while it did well at first, it quickly dropped off the radar for most folks. But earlier this year, the game made its leap to consoles and almost overnight became a massive success. Now the devs with more money and investors are excited about the future and have big plans. Suddenly, super popular Splitgate. In an interview with TechCrunch on September 14th, 1047 Games co-founder and CEO Ian Prowse explained that after a few recent rounds of funding following Splitgate's success, the scope of what we can do is now through the roof. Before, in 2019, the team struggled due to its small size and lack of resources. There's so much we couldn't think about because we were a tiny team with a tiny budget, but now everything is on the table, explained Prowse. We're focusing on long term. I look at the game at being 25% done. We don't need to be Fortnite tomorrow, but now it's really about building the next Riot Games, the next big game business. Splitgate is a competitive online free-to-play shooter that plays a lot like Quake 3 or classic Halo, but with the added wrinkles of player control portals. These portals allow for some wild moments and crazy play. After launching on console in July, the game players base exploded, hitting over 2 million. Woo! It's pretty good. Over 2 million active players in 2 weeks. This led to some nasty server issues, and 1047 Games scrambled to keep up with the now huge player count. That's the end of the article. And anything else? It says, after all that, source on September 14, 1047 game announced that it had successfully raised $100 million from a bunch of venture capital investors. And it's still going. And it says, with this money, Prowl say that the team can now just focus on making the game and the community wants to make. He also added that since 2019, a small group of players have stuck around and provide feedback, and Prowse believes that the community is continuing to listen to players is the key to building the Splitgate into something bigger and better. Woo! Alright. We read everything. We're listening. Keep the feedbacks coming. We're still operating like the indie team. Good. That adds to stay close with our community. We're still in the midst. We're still in that mindset. Sorry about that, said Prowse. But now we just have a ridiculous amount of money. Okay, and that's the end of the article. All right, this is on Kotaku. You got a pretty. Okay, you said you're listening and keep the feedbacks coming. You're still operating like an indie team. Indie team, excellent. Don't break that formula. And the last part that got me, it says, but now we just have a ridiculous amount of money. Okay, and this is where my advice comes in. Here's the deal. You got $100 million in fundings, right? Do not move to a corporate office, because they'll eat out at your money, especially when you start paying utility bills, right? So what you do is you get an abandoned warehouse, because they already built, and all you have to do is remodel it. That means put on a new roof, probably fix the bathrooms up, fix the kitchen sinks up if they have one, and then go from there. You buy an abandoned warehouse and remodel it, and then you turn that abandoned warehouse into your gaming studio. And you don't have to put like a big billboard on the outside saying this is the company or whatever. You can just keep it just like a warehouse, but inside is the game studio. So you buy an abandoned warehouse, you turn it into a game studio. That'll save you plenty of money versus going to a corporate office and then you're sitting there paying all this ridiculous bill, because all that money it eats up at your all them bills you're paying in those corporate offices. It eats up at your money. But my other question to you is this now. So you say you will have Forge out before Halo Infinite. I know that was a joke, and I get it. But now the question becomes: you say your Forge is going to be out before Halo Infinite Forge, and you're 25% complete. How many? The question is, how many people do you have on your staff versus the team over at 343? That's where the real problems lie, because the more hands you have, the lighter the load you got to carry. The lighter the load. So the question is, how many employees do you have versus the employees over at 343 Studios? That's where the real problem lies, within that statement saying that you're going to have Forge out before Halo Infinite, and yet you're 25% complete. This is like a David versus Goliath question. That's my take on the whole thing. So that's where the problem lies. How many people do you have on your team versus the team over at 343 to make that possible? And if not, then I guess you were just joking. I know it's a joke. I know it was a joke that when you brought that statement up. That statement was a confidence builder. The statement was a confidence builder. So it's like you're challenging 343 to step their game up, so to speak, with Halo Infinite, because you might be fans of the game too, and maybe you want to draw some ideas from Halo Infinite to make your game better. So I get it. But now the question becomes, okay, how many people do you have on your team versus the team over at 343. That's the problem. But other than that, man, it's good that you guys got 100 million in fundings. That's pretty good. But don't fall into the temptation. Now that you got $100 million, you think you got to move into a corporate office with the view of the city and all that. Don't fall into that trap, okay? Because the higher up you go in those buildings, the more expensive it gets. So my advice to you, to 1047 Games, is this. My advice to you is this: buy an abandoned warehouse, and turn that into your gaming studio. Okay, it's going. I mean, you're gonna have to remodel it. That's true. Meaning that you got to probably do the bathrooms, probably redo the kitchen sink if it got one, redo the kitchen. Probably have to redo the electric circuits in there, and probably have to redo the flooring. But that ain't gonna cost you that much based on the budget that you got. So that's the thing you do versus just moving into a corporate office and then all of a sudden you think you're living the big life, and so to speak, and then all of a sudden the higher up you go in those high-rise buildings, the more expensive it gets, and then it start eating out at your funds that you got. So the best thing to do is buy an abandoned warehouse. Buy an abandoned warehouse that's already built up and it's pretty big, and you turn that into your gaming studios, and then go from there. Okay, it will save you some money, and that's my advice. Me, Chris, being on YouTube, that's my advice I would give to you. Don't fall into the traps. Now that you got 100 million, do not fall into the traps of moving into those high-rise buildings and thinking you're good. Get an abandoned warehouse and go from there. But make sure that abandoned warehouse is pretty big. So you can hold all the staff members, and you can have different sections within that warehouse, so you can get your games worked on, because of course you gotta pay for the maintenance, upkeep of your servers. Your servers got to be on point, stuff like that, and go from there. But anyway, that's my advice, and that's the end of the article. So what I'm gonna do is this: I'm gonna leave a link in the description box for all you people to enjoy. Nice talking to you people again. Chris, still a Star Wars and Star Trek thing, or Dark Side. Gone. Peace.